Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey!
Hey!
Happy Hump Day! Where the heck's G. Bush?
I don't know. I don't like sitting in the middle. This is very uncomfortable.
You don't like being next to me. That's what it is, right?
Well, we've never sat next to each
I don't
other.
think we have.
No, it's never
intentional,
happened.
by the way.
I feel like I look even fatter than I normally look in the middle. I don't like it.
I don't
want to move?
I don't know.
I mean, I kind of want to move, but I'll stay where I am.
I don't really like the end, so
move the
I do have a better camera angle.
Yeah, I need can we put something like from my neck down, maybe from here down to cover the rest of my body?
So real quick.
Thank you.
We'll bring you behind the curtains real quick. The reason you've never sat in the middle and you've never sat next to Jay is because you two are the most dominant talkers on the show. And we figured if we put you next to each other or leave the person on the outside.
Oh, I might get a word in?
So what did you do to Dustin today? Why is he over there?
Because we have two guests coming in later in the show for the Home for the Holidays interview. Mm-hmm. And we didn't know G. Bush was going to be off today.
Oh,
so we're going to have Dustin slide out to be able to bring the two extra guests in.
Collinsworth slide out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to love that. No, Collinsworth slid in.
He did, but I'm going to slide out.
You're going to slide out.
Do a reverse Collinsworth.
And it's a lot easier to slide the person on the outside out as opposed to sliding the person.
Yeah, I can see. I get the thinking
it's a future logistics problem. This will be a one-time only thing where Bull's in the middle. So Bull.
All right.
I don't know where to look. I'm not used to. I guess I look straight ahead at the camera there.
Camera 2 would be his camera, right?
I guess.
His close-up.
No, it changes. Steve will find.
Steve, you're messing with me now, Steve.
Steve will find.
No, it's not.
I guess it will be 3.
All right.
It's 3, bro.
Yeah.
Okay. Trust me, I sit there every day.
All right.
Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. We're halfway home. We got another big Browns game this weekend, don't we?
We do. Steve, enough. Jesus.
Hey, I won't even bring that up because he might do it.
Yeah, right. Anything. Steve is not opposed to doing it.
Steve's actually kind of mean. Like, if we really want to get down to the nitty-gritty, sometimes...
He can be, but let's face it, it fits the vibe of the show.
It does.
What do guys do? They bust on each other.
This is a ball-busting community here. You got to be part of it.
Don't walk in the door.
That's
right. Jay, you have just entered new levels of the Positron. Mark that down.
I'll tell you, it's funny. I'll take the fans behind the curtain a little bit, not of this show, but just in general. So some of you may know there's an ongoing feud right now.
Look at the camera, Bull.
Camera 3.
Steve, you're killing me now.
That's what, dude. It sucks.
I don't like it. Why can't I get camera 2?
That's what I've been saying for 2 years.
Because it's the cut. It's the 3 shot.
This is ridiculous.
Camera 2 stays as the
All right. So there's an ongoing feud right now on 92.3 The Fan between the morning show and the afternoon drive show.
Is there really?
There's a feud going on.
Do you believe that it's real or is it fabricated?
Oh, I know it's real. It's 100% real.
Wow.
I know all
Real
the players.
beef.
I know all the players involved.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So there's a beef going on. We see this in radio from time to time, whether it's station versus another station or within the station. Dustin and I used to beef with the morning show all the time. Those were, legendary beefs. And often one of us would go on their show to fight with them, or one of them would go on our show.
Was the animus real? Was it real hatred, or was it a professional thing?
No, but the wanting to bust the chops of the other guy was real.
Sure.
You wanted to, but we didn't actually hate each other. No.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dustin.
No, I just was going to say I don't know the relationship between them and the morning show because
them is who?
Ken and Lima is the morning show.
Nick,
Jonathan and Nick is afternoon. Yeah.
Jonathan. You and I had a friendly relationship with those guys in the morning. Where we Lima was on our show. Ken used to fill in all the time. We knew them very well. I don't know how close those shows are.
Right.
So it may
aren't they separated by the midday show?
Yeah, they are.
Phelps and
so they don't see each other that often. I'm just saying it actually may be more contentious than we think.
Huh.
It might be. So here's the thing. So actually, the first morning show on the Fan it was Kylie and Booms. Yeah. We didn't really feud with them because they were so out in left field. We didn't even
I was scared of them in shadow, let alone those guys.
Yeah, they were. We just didn't even speak the same language that they spoke. But But anyway, the reason I bring it up is because you say, well, if you can't dish it out, if you can dish it out, you better be able to take it.
Well,
right?
that's the universe.
And I will say this: I'm not going to name any names, but one member of this 4-team battle royale, called me yesterday.
Wow.
To say, hey, do you think I've gone too far? Do you think it's funny? Blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's interesting.
And so we kind of, and I said, no, you can never go too far. Well,
I don't think
you can, but you haven't to this point.
Here's what they've achieved, guys. Off-channel marketing.
Yeah, we're talking about it.
You know how expensive that is?
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Giving them free. Even though their bosses don't let them talk about the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, which we're trying to change finally.
I'll go way back now.
Yeah.
You'll remember this.
Yeah.
Howard writes about it in his book. Howard Stern rose to fame as the Joe Six-Pack. I hate the man.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And he used to disparage his program director no
All
matter
the time.
who it was.
Right.
And he's later said, look, it was good for business.
He's become a lot softer.
Well, he's a much different guy. He's not even the same. I mean, what made Howard famous is no longer present in his show. However,
there's still good parts of his show, but it's not for the same reason.
He replaced it with the skill set of being the best interviewer in the business.
Right.
But all of those beefs that the listeners would love to listen to as they're driving to their welding job at 7 a.m., they would feel like, wow, Howard's one of us.
Yes.
He wants to stick it to the man, too.
Right.
And there was nothing personal. It was good business. And I'm guessing that these guys don't want to throw hands, but they're getting off-channel marketing, which is invaluable.
But I'd like to see them throw hands.
If you want to throw hands, guys, we will put on a pay-per-view on UCSS, and we'll rent out an arena, and we'll let the fans come and watch.
I mean, Nick...
It's come to that before.
Yeah, I mean, Nick and Ken, like myself, they're both fat guys also, so it'll be a good sumo wrestling match. And then Lima and Jonathan are more like skinny, feisty. I'd have to give the edge.
So maybe we make it a double
Lima,
card.
But, I don't know.
Have an undercard, the small guys, and then the main event are the big guys.
Exactly. That'd be fun.
A la Danny Bonaducci and
then maybe
Geraldo
Baskin
Rivera.
and Phelps to the death as the nightcap.
Do I know who called you?
No, but I'll tell you later. I mean, you can probably figure it out.
I think I know who called
I talked. You know who the least likely is to call me of the four.
Is it the least likely to call me as well?
No, that's not who called me. No. But anyway, if I know at least a couple of them listen, so they'll know who I'm talking about. But anyway, go ahead, Mike.
We got a big day of sports.
Fun times.
That was good, Bull. And there's some elite level trolling coming from both sides in that feud.
Oh yeah,
God, I gotta
enjoy, guys. Let's dive into our first topic today. It's brought to us by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets. FanDuel, the game moves fast. So can you, and we have a winning FanDuel ticket courtesy of our friend Darren Smith. He turned $25 into $643.85, in part thanks to a 16-leg single-game parlay between the Heat and the Orlando Magic yesterday. He took the over on everyone that scored. He hit all 16 legs, and he turned $25 into $643.85. If you have a winning ticket, make sure you send it in to us so we can feature it on the show, just like our friend Darren Smith.
I feel like Darren's hit a few of those.
Darren.
Darren does.
He does hit a few.
Does hit them. I'm sure he doesn't send us his losing tickets.
No, definitely not.
And there are probably a lot more losing tickets.
Probably
than
they add up, right?
If you hit like that, that probably would support a week of losses.
At least if you're only betting $5.
What was that? 25. Yeah, 25.
Right, yeah.
So,
25.
If you bet 10 of those in a week and you lose 10 of those, and I'm sure he bets. I would imagine he bets a couple a night.
Oh yeah, sure.
Do you like to play the big parlays, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a bet every night? Usually.
I didn't last night.
Okay, so you're not an every nighter.
I'm trying not to be. I'm trying to be a little bit less of an every nighter.
Do you, in general, do you track your wins and losses or no?
We won't talk about that, Jay.
Well, Dustin will save you here, man.
Jay's getting into touchy subjects.
No, the only thing I'm curious about is I have friends that are way more involved than you.
Yeah, I'm not a good gambler, dude. I'm not a good gambler.
And I ask them constantly, like, do you track it? And the ones that say, no, I don't track it, but I'm way up.
Yeah, baloney.
But the ones that tell me they track it, truthfully tell me, they're like, yeah, no, I'm down for the year.
Yeah, no, these apps now track everything for you, which is it's very humbling.
It's good or bad.
It's not like back in the day where, I was given $20 to the bookie in 1991 or whatever.
Allegedly. You were.
Allegedly.
I mean, there's no proof of that.
There's no proof of that?
There's no proof.
Well, I never actually gave it to the bookie.
I mean, we don't want to admit to illegal activity.
Well, but I think
we're past the statute of limitations.
Yeah, we probably are. Statute of limitations
for gambling, I think, is long.
I think that what we always say, and we always drive this home, is if you do it, just do it.
Be smart about
responsibly.
it. Don't go over your.
And you know what? Look, if you have the means and you can lose it, and it's no skin off your back, and you're not stealing the rent, then have fun. It's a form of entertainment.
Not everybody.
Just be careful. Be careful.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, guys. Let's dive in. When I came up with this topic, it's something that's kind of been popped up around, and it's circulated social media. I didn't know G. Bush was going to be off today, and this kind of changes the conversation.
Is he okay, by the way? Is he sick?
Yeah, he just needed a day off to take care of some stuff after last week. He'll be back tomorrow, perfectly fine.
Very good.
But the question I wanted to ask was, we have seen Shedeur improve every game he's played this season. Came in against Baltimore, shaky. Came in against Vegas, had some solid numbers. They won the game, came in against San Francisco. You saw some more progress than obviously against Tennessee. His best game yet. With that development, and you can see the linear development here, how much credit, if any, do you give Kevin Stefanski for his part in Shedeur's development? Alex Wright yesterday, or I guess on Monday, was asked what he's seen between Stefanski and Shedeur, and this is exactly what Alex Wright said about their relationship. He said, quote, he's always, and he being Shedeur, he's always the happy-go-lucky person in the locker room. When I come into the facility, I see him in the office every day with Stefanski. He's a poised rookie. We're going to get behind him. Other players have said that they've seen Stefanski and Shedeur watching film every morning, even before Shedeur necessarily got the starting nod. So, Dustin, I'll start with you on this one.
Yeah.
How much credit does, if any, Stefanski deserve for the development over the last couple of weeks and really the entire season of Shedeur Sanders?
I think he gets some credit. He works with the quarterbacks all the time. He's not calling the plays on game day, but he's a big part of the process throughout the week. I mean, I think the head coach and Tommy Rees, obviously got to be on the same page with what they're going into the game with. You're going to spend – listen, Stefanski still wants to win these games, whether he's going to be here or not. I mean, he's a professional, and he obviously cares about his players, and he's going to work with Shedeur as much as he possibly can. And Shedeur's a likable guy. I think he's a little immature, just from he's a kid at heart. You know what I mean? I don't think he's a bad pro or doesn't take things seriously. I think he does. I think Stefanski deserves absolutely some credit for Shedeur's progression here. Now it's been a smaller sample size, and we want to see more, and we're going to see a lot more. This week as they face a really talented team in Chicago. But, I think you give him some credit. How much? I mean, no one can say, he deserves all the credit or half the credit or whatever, but he's a big part of it.
I mean, it's a possible question to answer. Yeah. Have we ever asked this question before about a quarterback?
Probably not.
Right? I mean, it's we're asking questions involving Shedeur that we don't ask with any other player. It's weird. So does he get credit? I guess you give him a little.
If you like Stefanski, you're going to give him credit. If you don't like Stefanski, you're not going to give him credit.
The thing is...
You're in your camp.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing is, if we're going to blame Stefanski
that's where I was
when the quarterbacks don't do well and say he hasn't developed them, then he's got to get a level of credit. But, of course, if you give him any credit, then people are going to get all worked up and say, well, why are you taking away credit from Shedeur? So I don't know what the truth is. I give him a little bit of credit. I mean, he's his coach. I give him the same amount of credit and blame that I would give him for any other quarterback on his team. When the quarterbacks suck, it's probably not much his fault. And when the quarterbacks are good, it's probably not that much him. I think the players play. I think the coach's effect on how good a player is, to me, is overrated, in my opinion. Now, you know better than me because you played. I've just always thought it was generally overrated because, as I've always believed, most coaches are just fine, and they're good or bad based on the talent. I think there are some coaches that, like Sean McVay and a couple of others, who stand out and they're great and do make a difference. And a few suck on the bottom end, and most, like Kevin Stefanski, depend on their talent.
I would say this much. I think that for a young player, a rookie especially who's playing quarterback, a coach can have a bigger impact because he's impressionable. Just think about our kids, right? I mean, your kids are starting to grow up. Your kids are older, Jay, and I've got a teenage daughter. I think, when she was a lot younger, I made a much more of an impact on her.
Sure.
Now she's older. So I can't. There's only so much I can do.
Right.
Like if it was Joe Flacco in the room, Stefanski can only help him so much. But I think for a guy like Shedeur Sanders, who's so young, I think that the impact he can have on molding him is actually pretty big.
But isn't Tommy Rees spending more time with him probably than Kevin Stefanski is?
That I can't answer. I'm not in the
that's
building.
why it's hard.
Yeah.
It's like
but I do think that Stefanski he still has such a huge role in this offense. He didn't just say Tommy take it.
Right,
and he's like out shooting hoops in the back.
I liked your kids analogy.
Yeah.
When our kids are young, we're their compass.
Right.
They look to us for everything as examples. How do we compose ourselves in public? How do we interact with other people? And they're constantly looking and absorbing. And then you said it appropriately. My kids are in their early 30s. I'd like to think that the cake is baked. It's done. They still probably
laid that foundation years
it's
ago.
Done. It's in the early formative years, and that's where Shedeur Sanders is right now on his career arc. He's in the early formative years. Did Joe Flacco blossom here because No, he had more than a dozen years in the NFL of experience to fall back on. Yeah. Same with Jameis. Jameis had a body of work. He knew what he was looking at when he was looking at NFL defenses. I tend to agree with you, Bull, on the impact that coaches have on players in general. Like if you're a linebacker, how much is the coach really helping you? You're a linebacker, you read and react. How fast do you see things, process things, and get to the spot? So that is more reactive. But I do disagree with that when it comes to quarterbacks. I think more than any other position in sports, the position of quarterback is more cerebral, it's more diagnostic, there's a lot of reaction to it, but the reaction is based on the early steps in the process, which is diagnostic. What am I looking at? Where will my guy be open? How do I throw said player open? There's a lot of nuance to it. So I would give him, Stefanski, as much credit as I would give him blame for the lack of Dillon Gabriel showing us anything. Dillon Gabriel showed us not much at all, but while he was competing at the highest level in college, he proved to be a very competent quarterback that could handle that. Now, the college game, as you know, is drastically different than the NFL game. And one of the big knocks on the college game over the last decade plus probably has been they are not getting quarterbacks ready to run with no training wheels. Everything is figured out for them. Everything. And, how many times have we seen quarterbacks come up to the line, get under center, look. He's not doing the reading. The offensive coordinator is. He's stepping away. He's looking around. He's looking to the sidelines. They're flashing in the new play. Well, you're not doing your quarterback any favor when he gets to the next level if you're doing the diagnostic work. That's what separates quarterbacks at the NFL level. And so I do think there should be some credit given to Kevin Stefanski. How much? Like you said, there's no way to measure this.
Right.
Is he 22% responsible and it's 78% Shedeur? Who knows? Right. But if you're going to blame him for Dillon Gabriel's lack of progress, then you also have to credit him the same amount for Shedeur Sanders' progress.
And I wouldn't even say Stefanski. I would say the coaching staff,
general, right? Because Tommy Rees probably
and there's a quarterback coach, and it's like everybody's working together. Coaches are trying to help players.
Sure,
obviously
that's his job.
But clearly, Shedeur Sanders deserves the majority of credit, as does every other player for their success,
especially at quarterback,
or their lack of success.
Yeah, you're out there on your own, man.
Yep,
you're on an island, and there's a reason they all run to the sidelines and look at the tablet. Okay, what did I miss?
Yeah.
And then they've got an extra set of eyes or two in offensive coordinator, quarterback, even head coach, looking at the tablet as well, saying, well, you saw the too high safety, but you didn't see the movement before the snap where they completely shifted everything. Yeah. In the NFL, it's all about pre-snap looks and adjusting as the ball is snapped.
Yep.
You see 6 guys at the line of scrimmage, they're showing blitz. the ball is snapped, and sometimes two of those guys drop back into coverage.
All the time.
It's part of the deal.
Disguise is one of the biggest things you have to do.
Yeah, you have
as
to.
a defensive coordinator, you're trying to, especially versus a young quarterback.
How hard was that for you as a corner, making those adjustments? Was there a big adjustment from the college game to the pro game, even for you, and showing what you were going to do?
It was big for me, especially as a rookie, because they moved me from corner to safety, a position I didn't really play much in college, where I had to then all of a sudden go from, everyone told me what to do. Like, I got a hand signal, I know if it were man or zone or what have you, to now I'm either, we're showing a two-shell look or we're doing an inverted look. And I had to then maybe I was inverted. Then we had to bail out of that the last second for the snap.
Sure.
After the snap, So
I imagine it'd be a huge adjustment.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of thinking, and when you think, you play very slow. Your brain is processing.
It starts to. It looks natural when it feels natural for the player, when they're no longer going through the motions of all of and it sometimes looks jaded and slow. But I can already tell. I think the biggest difference in Shedeur from week 1 to week 4 now, I mean, in terms of his playing, you've watched him week to week. You've watched his clock speed up, and you've seen that he's no longer going on the college clock. He is now adjusting to the NFL clock, and even the way he decides, every quarterback makes the decision. There's nothing there. I gotta go. Those decisions for Shedeur Sanders have gotten better and faster. He's no longer retreating and running south. He's now using his athleticism to break tackles and to escape the pocket and try to make a play on the other side of that. And that part of it has been really, really fun to watch. And if he can continue to speed up that clock and get on the right second and the right time, I think the sky's the limit for him here.
Sky's the limit may be high at this.
You don't think
stage.
he could be a franchise quarterback here yet?
I think after 4 games.
Well, no, I said if it continues.
Yeah,
he did it against a one-win team.
What's continuing mean? Like
I need to see growth week to week.
Yeah, you think you can see enough this year to know?
To be determined. I've said I need all 4 games. I need to watch all 4 games because these defenses aren't great. The teams are pretty good, but the defenses are not elite defenses that because I think the Bears have the best defense of what
I was going to say the Bears.
They take the ball away from you.
They take the ball away,
and that is
they
elite.
give up plenty of yards.
They do.
Yeah.
But because of their turnovers, it makes their overall numbers on defense look better. They're just limiting offensive possessions because they're taking them away from the opponent. But none of these defenses would be considered elite or top flight NFL defenses right now. That's why I expect him to continue to produce, continue to show improvement. And look, he's going to make he's forcing the Browns to make a very, very difficult decision.
Yeah. I don't think 7 games on any player in any position, for sure what that player is.
Can you say that then about Dylan Gabriel?
Yes. I don't think he's good.
Right.
But I can't tell for sure.
Okay.
It's not enough games.
Because basically, to me, the opinion of Dylan Gabriel is in.
Yeah, I mean, you could have a strong lean.
Right, yeah.
But you can't say with 100%
well, no,
certainty
you
he'll never
can't
be good.
because, look, we watched Sam Darnold for 3 years and say this guy is not it.
Right.
Dimes.
And the last 2 years, he's been like a Pro Bowl player. And so... Right. I don't know what that number is. I was talking with a former pro earlier this week, and I asked him that. I said, what is the good sample size? And he goes, I'll tell you this, it gets longer every year. We buried guys after 1, 2, and 3 seasons that are now resurrected and leading the league.
I don't know, but some of those guys have, like Geno, has fallen on his face.
Well, now Geno's in a little different story.
Baker,
Geno's older in age.
People got to stop putting Baker in that category.
I agree with that.
He doesn't count.
I agree with that.
Daniel Jones is hurt, so he was playing well, but his play was tailing off.
He's
the last
more
couple
in that
weeks.
Sam Darnold camp than Baker was. Baker had success in the league as a young player.
Yeah, Baker is not an example.
And he was the number 1 overall draft pick. Like, I know Sam Darnold went high in the draft too, but when you watch a guy for 3 years look like he's got 2 left feet,
Darnold,
you give up on the guy.
Darnold, Geno, and Daniel Jones, they're in that category.
Yeah, absolutely,
now,
they are.
Geno Smith, to me, I don't even sure if he's a starting quarterback anymore.
Doesn't look like
no, but he had a 5-year run,
right?
After post New York,
yes,
where he was a very serviceable.
So that's it.
So I don't know. I mean, it is tough, but I think what he's done, and I had someone remind me yesterday. We were having a conversation about it, and I was maybe a little too overzealous on Shedeur, as I may be here. because you've looked at me and said, really? Do we know that? Maybe we don't. And yesterday, the discussion that I was having, the person said, I watched you Monday, and I watched the main point that you made was that all of this effort, all of this buzz around Shedeur came in a loss at home to a 1-win team. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
You still have to keep some perspective on it.
Yeah, he did it, which shows he can do it at the NFL level against really bad teams.
Those guys get paid too.
They get paid. Well, now the question is, can he do it against better defenses?
But here's the thing. I don't accept this. Well, he did it against the Titans. First of all, it's the NFL. Yeah. This is not college.
No, I know, but it'd be more impressive if he did it against the Eagles.
But he didn't do it against FAU.
Guys, he's playing with bad talent.
He is.
He is. Outside of the Titans, they probably have the worst talent around the quarterback on the Browns. So, you've been saying that's the worst wide receiving core you've ever seen.
And the Titans are right there with us.
Right. The Titans are the only team with worse talent.
You know the point I don't think we made strong enough Monday? Because it is Shedeur Mania, and I get that.
Yeah.
But I really think the takeaway from Sunday was, and we touched on it, but it was the defense. Like, we lost that game for one reason. The defense allowed 29 points to an awful, awful offense, and they gave up 175 yards rushing or whatever it was, as we were ears pinned back chasing a quarterback that didn't even have the ball in his hand.
Well, think about
that.
This.
I think was the headline from Sunday.
Again, the defense was terrible.
Awful.
The running game was non-existent, and the special teams is pretty much always awful.
They were terrible.
So Shedeur
we get a punt blocked.
I know we do. How does that happen?
Never get blocked. I feel like you could go a season and teams never get a punt blocked.
If the special
teams don't have one blocked in a season.
If the special teams was adequate and the defense, which has been good all year, just played an average game, the Browns would have won this easily.
It's a win.
So I'm not going to take because they lost. I'm not going to take too much away from Shedeur Sanders. Because he did more than enough to win that game. More than enough.
He did.
So the bottom line to me is
the defense cost the Browns the win.
Are we going to know for sure about Shedeur Sanders by the end of this year? Probably not. And you wouldn't know for sure about any quarterback. But what we can do is, like, right now we feel like Dylan Gabriel's hopeless, right? None of us think he's going to be a franchise quarterback. Okay?
I don't see it.
But we all thought that way going in, to be fair.
Sure, he's a third-round pick.
Nothing he's done has changed our mind.
Nothing.
Right? Whereas if you're the Browns, first of all, to me, again, I'm not an expert on college quarterbacks, but I think I know enough at this point. I am definitely not convinced that there's a quarterback coming into this draft that is definitely going to be better than Shedeur Sanders.
What do you think of Mendoza?
I think Mendoza is a really good player. I just don't. I shouldn't say that. I mean, because I watched Saturday night, and I think he faced the toughest defense so far. And he looked all right, and he made some plays when he had to make the plays, and they won the game, and he gets all the credit for that. Something's there. I don't know. Maybe he's so skinny and frail. Maybe it's his spastic interviews after the game.
He's going to turn off some teammates.
You know what impressed me was how he bounced back from that opening hit.
Yeah,
I mean that knocks a lot of quarterbacks out for the night.
Well, and the other thing about that too is he talked about this yesterday. He said it was a clean hit, loved it.
Yeah.
And it
was a clean hit.
He's like, I just took me a minute. I had to wake up and we go. He's like, this is football.
And when he had to make throws downfield late in the game, he made them.
Yeah,
all of them.
His throw to, what's his name? Becker, I think. Yeah. That was phenomenal.
By the way, I think he was exposing the weak link on that defense.
Yeah, but let's face it. Fernando Mendoza and Julian Sayin are playing with way better talent than he played with in college. Besides Travis Hunter, the rest of the offense in Colorado was pretty bad. And the thing is, are you convinced Mendoza's going to be a better player in the NFL than Shedeur?
At this point, I can't say that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can.
If Shedeur shows you enough, even if you're not sure at the end of the season, as long as you're like, I think there's a chance Shedeur's the franchise quarterback, then I would probably stay with him and draft the other guys. Unless you're absolutely sure that one of these quarterbacks coming out is better, I would not draft a quarterback. And for me, I'm definitely not convinced of that.
Honestly, man, for the most part, I don't know that I can say. There have been a lot of great quarterbacks drafted. I mean, Josh Allen, Lamar, all these guys have been good players. Mahomes. But there hasn't been a player come out to me that's like a surefire.
Not even Joe Burrow.
since Andrew Luck.
I
thought Andrew Luck was the one. This was like 2012, I think, when he came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, can't miss.
Yeah.
And there's nobody like that.
I felt that
right
way about
now.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Maybe so.
I
know it
felt
was
that
only a
way about
season,
Burrow, but
Either way, it's not every year.
Even Josh Allen and Lamar.
It's not every 5 years.
Yeah.
Look
Think
at
about
last
this.
year's draft class.
Think about Lamar and Josh Allen. They weren't sensational right off the bat.
Josh Allen completed like 56% of his passes at Wyoming.
He was mediocre at best his first year in the NFL.
And he came in the league, and you're right.
Yeah.
And people in Buffalo want to write him off.
That's right.
Well, it's the most important position in sports. I also think it's the most difficult position to actually assess. Guys have had careers blown to bits by making the wrong bet.
Because there's so many intangibles that go into it.
Yes.
That it's well beyond what you can see on the tape.
By the way,
so
you guys weren't here
Mendoza's gonna be
yesterday,
great,
but Sean King said that he would move forward with Shedeur. And Sean was not a huge Shedeur guy coming into the
No, I didn't think he was either.
He had him as a late first, early second round pick, not a top first
I think
round
the
pick.
intoxicating part of that is if Shedeur can be the answer.
Oh, it's huge.
You solve multiple problems at once. Not just do you solve the most difficult position, but from a financial standpoint, you've got a 5th round draft pick as your starting quarterback.
Yeah. Right.
So it's not like it was a first round pick, which those deals can still be healthy 7 figures. He's got, what is his total contract value? $1.5 million for 3 years?
It's more than that.
It's a 4-year deal. I think it's like 2.5.
Well, it's the 4th year is the team option, right?
No, it's not a team option.
No,
It's a
So
guarantee.
it's locked for 4. That's another benefit
but
if he's the right
you'll
guy.
pay him if he ends up being the guy. You'll pay him after year 3 and give him a new contract.
Sure you will. Hell yeah,
but for
you will.
3 years,
Happily.
you won't have to pay him anything.
Yeah, but I just remember when I looked at his
and
numbers,
you
I'm
have
like,
to use
this
the first
guy's
round
not
pick.
making
Right.
anything.
It's 4.6 over 4 years.
Okay, like
so it's $1 million a year.
4.6
Right,
for
and a thing you didn't even mention that's
Boom.
massive. Now you don't have to worry about using that 4th, 5th, 6th, first round pick.
Right.
And you could draft Carnell Tate.
That's
or
exactly
what's his
right.
name?
Jordan Tyson.
That's exactly right. And linemen and
then
fill
you get
other holes.
And then you fill, then in the late first round, early second round pick, you take 2 linemen.
That's
Let's
why
go.
if he does
If
play
they get
well
it
for
right-
the next 4 games,
Yeah, think
it
about
changes their team trajectory.
I know we got to move on, Mike, but think about this for a second in a perfect world. Shedeur plays really well down the stretch. He's not going to be perfect. There's some ups and downs, but plays a lot more good than bad.
Proves that there's something there for
You
next
want to
year.
move forward with him.
Yeah.
And now you draft a wide receiver at the top of the draft. You take 2 offensive linemen, late first, early second. Let's get pie in the sky. Let's say all 3 of those guys hit. You had a good draft this past year. Let's say, now your offensive line, you're not going to fix the whole offensive line. You can't fix the whole line in 1 year.
Everybody's gone.
But maybe you can go from crap to adequate on
Sure.
the offensive line
Yeah.
in 1 year. Now you got Tate, you got one of these top wide receivers in the draft, and you got Fannin, and you got Judkins,
You
who's
unlock
going to be
your- yeah.
better.
Yes.
And you already got the defense. If Shedeur Sanders is the guy, the turnaround can happen really quick.
It can. He can
Really quick.
accelerate this by
Now they
years.
got to get it right with these other picks, of course.
They do.
to help him. But
And the first part of that is an unknown. I mean, he's got to play well the next 4 weeks.
Yep.
And then the other thing that you have to hope for, and you see this all the time, and I know Jaden Daniels has been out a lot this year. When he has been on the football field, he's looked nothing like the guy that we saw last year. Nothing.
No. Now
like the guy.
I think you could put that on for early in the season. I think when he's come back recently,
Maybe.
it's probably still remnants of all the injuries.
I just keep
he's had,
watching and waiting to see that same
He
guy.
hasn't been that guy.
He
Yeah.
has not been there. And C.J. Stroud took a big step
Although
back in his
CJ
second year.
seems to be swinging back up again.
Coming back up.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence is a guy that had early struggles. Then
Yeah.
he found some success.
And went
Then
back
he went
down
back
again.
in the can, and now he's looking
playing
like
better.
a playoff
Yeah, yeah.
quarterback
A
again.
lot of it comes down to the system.
System,
Getting in the right system.
being in the right
You
system.
gotta
I think he's
remember,
got a good coach
these
now.
seasons are not linear, with the way guys
Yeah.
perform. I mean, we're going to get wet. All of a sudden it's December and guys are playing in the snow and
Yeah.
it's cold and it's windy.
And you're losing players to
and
injury.
guys it's a game of attrition. By
Yeah.
the end of the season, you may not have your top 2 wide receivers.
Sure.
Just because a guy has a rough 3 games or a month or something doesn't mean the guy's tailing off. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs can't win a game right now.
Oh, and they're probably not going to make the playoffs. I think
No.
the biggest takeaway for me is Shedeur's play Sunday turned the last 4 games of the season into something that I really want to watch.
100%.
Oh, for sure.
Not just for Myles Garrett.
Must-see TV.
Now I want to see, what do we have with Shedeur? How real is this? Is this sustainable? And it's given us a reason to care about the last 4 games.
It's the first time I've been intrigued by the Browns in December when they didn't have the possibility of the playoffs.
Yeah, because usually what are you watching for?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, our next topic is about that exact stretch. We're going to hear a theory from someone we've heard on the show before. We're going to get to that after. Mint Mobile, if you're still worrying about overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. Mint makes it simple. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your own phone and keep your same phone number and contacts. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. Required upfront payment of $45. Limited time new customer offer for 3 months only. Speeds may slow down above 35 gigabytes on the unlimited plan. Taxes and fees are extra. See Mint Mobile for details. We're going to talk about the Cavs players-only meeting in about 10 minutes. So at 11:45, we're going to pivot over to the Cavs. We got to play a little clip from the Nightcap podcast, with Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco. We played a bunch of their clips throughout the season in the lead-up to kind of where we are now. And Shannon Sharpe threw out a theory last night that we got tagged in no less than 400 times online on Instagram. So we had to address it. Here's Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco last night.
That looks like it might be promising. They still have an issue with that. So it looks like what they're trying to do, based on some of the things that we've seen, some of the things that we've heard come out of that locker room or that organization in general, they still don't think the person that is at the helm right now is the answer. They don't.
Yeah, I mean, and I really hate to feel this way, but a part of me is like, yeah, we're gonna let him start the rest of the season. Oh, Bears, Bills, Steelers, Bengals. If I'm Shedeur, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I already showed y'all what I can do. Put Dylan in there.
Nah, matter of fact, I want him to play against the Bears. I want him to play against the Bills. I want him to play against the Steelers because I want him to show that I'm a competent quarterback. And I can compete at the highest level as a rookie if given the right amount of time to prepare.
Right.
That's what I want him. I want him to have.
No. You, Ocho. But this is not a mistake. They picked these games and why couldn't you name his ass the starter 3 games ago? Why was it week to week? Because you know what? Every time he don't want to answer a question, he always say, "Well, I don't want to get into that."
Right.
I don't want to get into that because they asked him before, is Shedeur going to start? Well, I don't want to get into that. Let's look at the film and all that, bro. You know.
Wait. No. That's not true. That's not true. Because after the first game, and they asked him, is he going to start the next game? He wanted to see if he could do it again. Mm-hmm. What is he going to look like again? If he looked bad, what's the first thing you think Stefanski was going to do? He's going to put Dylan Gabriel back in there. Mm-hmm. That's why he had to. All right, I don't want to answer that right now. I don't know. But Shedeur gave you no choice. Man, could you imagine after he played this game, after he played this last game and the game before that, if he was the bench, you took bench Shedeur, you talk about losing your locker room? At that point, I guarantee you one of the veterans would have spoken.
So every day, almost every morning and every evening, I wake up and I spend a little time on social media, which I've cut down my social media a lot, but I still spend too much time on social media. Because I want to revel in the positive aspects of it, connecting with fans and getting, like, I have my lists for football and baseball and entertainment so I can read interesting stories about things I care about. But what I also have because of social media is every day I see headlines in sports and, of course, in politics where I'm like, this can't be real. Is this an Onion article? Like, are we serious here? Like, what has happened to people in this country that have lost their minds? And Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson were great football players who know the game, know the people in the game. I don't know what's happened here, but obviously what they're saying is insane, and they've lost their mind. And Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, is one of my favorite players of all time. I love him. I think he's a great entertainer. I thought he was a great player. Even though he did a lot of antics, I actually never found him to be a selfish player, even though he did a lot of things on the field that could be construed as selfish. I always thought of him as a good team guy. But the stuff they're saying here, Shannon Sharpe saying that Shedeur Sanders should refuse to play, is he crazy?
It was like a tinfoil hat segment.
I literally thought he was kidding.
Yeah, I know. Like to think
I thought he was at the end of it going to say, "No, man, of course he's got to play."
What kind of advice would that be to give?
It's crazy.
Could you imagine? Okay, let's just say for a second that he was to follow that advice.
Yeah.
Shedeur walks into Kevin's office and said, "Look, I've looked ahead at the schedule. We got some real teams coming up. I'm good." Could you imagine what would happen if he actually would have taken that advice? Dion, who I think it's an unfair bad rap by a lot of people, Dion would never give his kid that advice.
What? It's sanity.
It's sabotage. It's self-sabotage. No, I'm good. I've proved I can do it. I beat the Titans. Well, he didn't beat the Titans. I'm sorry.
Shedeur Sanders would be out of the league if he did that.
He'd be, and rightfully so.
What coach
would
he would never do that, of course.
Never. But if you just silo that advice and forget who said it. See, sometimes the person that says it changes the weight of it. And I think that's here. If anybody else on the internet would have said that, anybody that didn't have that kind of a profile, they would have been laughed off the internet.
I mean,
so here's the advice, Shedeur. I want you to go into Kevin Stefanski's office, and I want you to tell him, quote, "I'm good.
I'm good.
I don't want to play against these teams. These are good teams. I think you're sabotaging me. Why didn't you name me the starter for good 3 weeks ago?" And then Ocho Cinco said, "Well, why you didn't name him the starter 3 weeks ago?" He says, "No, I want to take a look. I'm going to be week to week. And what would have happened if he performed badly? But he would have put Dylan Gabriel." That's sports. That's sports. Like, how many times have we seen quarterback number 2 come in, perform poorly, go back to quarterback number 1?
Right. And
it happens all the time.
In fact, if Dylan Gabriel had played, Dylan Gabriel lost his job because he got hurt. However, if he had been playing really well, he would have gotten it back when he came back.
Yes.
But because he wasn't playing well.
That's right. Now we got to see what quarterback 2 has.
Guy. And then once he played, Shedeur Sanders, you could have argued you should have named him the quarterback for the rest of the year. However.
Earlier, you mean?
Earlier. You could argue.
Yeah, you could argue that.
If you want. But the first 2 games he started, I don't think he played well enough in those games to say, "Oh, no doubt, you got to start him the rest of the way." Yeah. I would have personally.
Yeah.
But I can understand why you maybe didn't. But obviously, this third game, he played his best game. It's the best game played by a Browns quarterback this year.
So now you've got to see.
Obviously, you're going to start him the rest of the way.
Did you guys talk about Albert Breer's comments yesterday? Have we talked about those yet? I meant to send those to you.
We have. Well, because he said it yesterday afternoon. So.
Yeah, I figured when I saw the rundown for today that it must have come out earlier and it was discussed yesterday.
Yeah, what specifically?
When I read Albert Breer's comments, I said, "Oh, Kevin's done and he knows he's done."
Which comments are you referring to?
He made comments that these are not Kevin's decisions. Kevin is not making a lot of these decisions and that Kevin's not happy about it. To me, my takeaway from Albert Breer's comments was very simple.
Yeah.
Kevin's gone and he knows it. Why? Because he's talking. We're hearing what Kevin Stefanski is thinking. When have we heard that? He doesn't do that.
Yeah.
And we know Albert's close to the Browns. He's a great reporter. When I read something from Albert Breer, I say, "Oh, okay, that can take this to the bank. He's getting this from someone good." The comments that he wrote yesterday, I think it was actually, it looked to me like it was taken from a radio interview because it didn't look like the written word.
Yeah, Albert used to come on our show.
He goes on our afternoon.
Yeah, so he must have been
he still goes on the show.
And I don't know that it was 92.3. It might have been.
It was.
It was.
It might have been.
It was. He does only that show in Cleveland.
Yeah.
No, it could have been a national show. I don't know. It wasn't
okay.
attributed to anything,
Right.
which I found odd because as I was reading it, I'm like, this is poorly written. This
I
isn't
know he
Albert
was on
writing.
yesterday. So.
Okay, if he was, then it must have been from that interview.
I just found it was from his Monday morning quarterback column.
Okay. See, but that surprised me because it wasn't as well written as Albert usually is. It sounded to me like it was a written comment, or I mean a spoken comment, not a written one. Do you want to read it, Mike, to give our viewers context?
Yeah, let me pull it back up here 1 sec.
My first takeaway was, oh, Kevin's gone. Kevin's gone and he knows he's gone.
I can't believe I didn't see more of this.
You know what? I got to fall on the sword on this one. I should have sent it to you. I assumed that it had been discussed on the show yesterday.
Yeah, it came out on Monday.
Dropping the ball.
Okay, so it's my fault that
this is what Albert Breer said in his Monday morning quarterback column. Quote, the one thing that would be really frustrating for me if I were the coach in Cleveland is you've been trying to make decisions for football reasons and no one will accept them. I can tell you, just knowing the number of people that I know who work there, that the quarterback situation was handled this year over the last 6, 7, 8 months in a way that was based solely on how the guys were performing in practice. It makes Stefanski look bad now because Shedeur played well. If you're Kevin and you're making all of these decisions based on football decisions and you've made a lot of other decisions over the years and they're constantly second-guessing this way and that's constantly a circus, well, would you be sick of it? Has this just become, quote, you know what, this hasn't worked out for either of us over the last couple of years, so maybe it's just time, end quote.
I have no sympathy for Kevin Stefanski at all.
No, I didn't say I did.
Yeah.
When I read that, my take, and I know what you're going to go because it's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
When you gave the rope to these clowns in the first place, don't be mad that you can't wrestle it back from them.
Right, exactly.
And I get it. He's a new first-time coach. He comes in. He's got to defer to ownership. But at some point, you realize in this league really quickly, I remember Rex Ryan saying this fairly early in his tenure with the Jets, because Rex had some battles with management, and he just said, look, if you don't like it, fire me. And Rex was winning those battles because the general manager realized, I can't fire him. I'm a couple games into his tenure. I'm going to have to let him coach.
Right.
And it's a very similar situation in New York that we have in Cleveland. And I bring that up because coaches will tell you early on, if you defer early, you never get that power back. And Kevin deferred early. There were decisions that were being made early in Kevin's tenure that should have been made by Kevin that weren't. One of them that wasn't exactly early, but it was the middle of his tenure, was they made him fire Van Pelt.
And that's the moment.
And that was the moment he lost the tug of war.
And you know what? If the Browns would have fired him then, if he said, hey, if you fire Alex Van Pelt, I'm gone.
Which he could have forced them to do.
We keep hearing everybody loves Kevin Stefanski around the league. If that's the case, I'm sure they loved him even more 2 years ago when that happened.
He would have been hired immediately.
Exactly. So he should have stood up to the owner. I don't want to hear about this. He's wrong in this situation. There's nobody that could reasonably think Dylan Gabriel's better than Shedeur Sanders. I don't see how anybody
No,
could
and
think that.
I'm not sure that he was talking about that per se
I don't know
in that comment. I think what he was talking about was, and we watched it in real time unfold, and we kept saying every day, what in the hell are they doing here with quarterbacks? Going back to the decision to bring Kenny Pickett in first, and then you bring Joe Flacco in, and then you release Kenny Pickett or trade him, and then you trade Joe Flacco, and all of us are going, I can't keep up with this. It's like a tennis match. I head on a swivel here. And obviously, to me, it reeked of someone that just didn't have an overall plan pulling these strings. There was no way Kevin was making any of these calls. I knew that. Everybody knew that.
Yeah. Well,
and
certainly
I think
the Flacco trade,
any of it. And I think what Albert Breer is talking about is, and I also think he's getting some of this from Kevin. I do.
Probably.
And I can't say certainly.
Or somebody in Kevin's
camp. Or
camp.
someone in Kevin's camp. Because the line to me at the end where he said, I think it's time to say mutually, it's just time for this to end.
Yes, 100%.
If you're watching and paying attention what's going on in Philadelphia, I think this is very important. I would not be shocked at all if the following happens. Philadelphia misses the playoffs, fires their offensive coordinator, who right now is as popular as Canada was in Pittsburgh 3 years ago.
No.
They are they don't even blame Jalen Hurts for the 5 interceptions the other night. Everybody in Philly is blaming the offensive coordinator. We know Kevin is from Philly. It would not surprise me one bit if at the end of the year, Kevin leaves Cleveland either on his own or is fired and ends up as the offensive coordinator in his hometown of Philadelphia.
Maybe.
Wouldn't surprise me one bit.
I don't know. There'll be a lot of vacancies at the end of the season. We'll see. I said this the other day. I think you could make an argument that every coach in the AFC North needs to change, including Harbaugh and Tomlin.
Well,
that's time for a change.
If Pittsburgh or Baltimore believe that, and I'm Cleveland, I'm burning up the phone to Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
Well, I would argue
I'd take John Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin all day, every day.
I would argue that Harbaugh has taken, I feel like no blame for the failures of Baltimore. If people put all the blame for the failure of Baltimore in the playoffs on Lamar Jackson, and obviously he deserves some of the blame,
sure,
no doubt. But their game plans in some of those playoff games have been terrible.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And I feel like he's
Can't argue
Teflon.
that.
Yeah, but if either one wants to discard their coach, please send them to Cleveland.
Yeah, but would either of them come here?
That's a really good question because they'd probably have better.
Why would they go here?
They'd probably have better options. I can't imagine. There is some tie to Ohio with Harbaugh.
The Harbaughs have Ohio ties.
Yeah, his mom and dad went to Bowling Green.
He went to Miami, Ohio.
Yeah, he's got ties here.
Neither one of them is going to want to put up with Jimmy Haslam, probably.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you're going to get a seasoned coach or a coach with any kind. I think you're going to get guys that are dying to coach in the league for the first time, and that's what we've always put up with here.
Yeah.
We've always had that.
We got to talk a little Cavs before we bring Ross Tucker onto the show. Our Cavs discussion today is brought to us by a Home Builders Association. Give big with the Home for the Holidays raffle. You have a chance to win a beautiful new custom home or a cash prize this holiday season and help make wishes come true for Make-A-Wish kids with critical illnesses. Raffle proceeds benefit Make-A-Wish OKI, which has granted over 22,000 wishes to children facing critical illnesses all across Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana since 1983. This year's house is a custom-built ranch by Petros Homes with 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and a 3-car garage. Just visit HomeForTheHolidays.org to buy your tickets. That's HomeForTheHolidays.org. Terms and conditions apply. The winner gets announced on December 24th.
Good luck.
Guys, the Cavs practiced yesterday, an actual legitimate practice for the first time in over a month. And after practice, Kenny Atkinson, DeAndre Hunter, and company revealed some interesting information. DeAndre Hunter said that the Cavs had a film session where Kenny basically chewed them all out. These are 2 quotes from DeAndre Hunter from yesterday's media availability. Hunter said, quote, "He, being Kenny Atkinson, just called us out. He broke down exactly what we needed to do, exactly what we haven't been good at, and we watched it as a whole team. It's not the easiest thing to see when you're not doing well, but we saw a lot of that." He went on to say that it's your own accountability. You can't blame anyone else. Can't say you weren't in a rhythm or you aren't making shots or anything like that. If you just watch the film and see yourself and you're getting cut back door, you're getting beat in transition, that's on you. We saw that and we're taking accountability. It helps every single player because we saw it, so it's hard to deny it. Kenny was then asked about the film session. Kenny went on to say, "It was uncomfortable. We're not enjoying it. We're on edge. We're competitors. This isn't fun. Wasn't fun in the sense of the film session because it was uncomfortable. Practice is uncomfortable. Everyone wants that joy. That joy comes back when you start improving and turning a corner as far as what we want as our team to go." The players also said that afterwards, they held a players-only meeting to address what they saw in the film session, to hash out any final things that were lingering over after, as Kenny called it, an uncomfortable film session. Dustin, Jay, Bull, is this the kind of spark, maybe, for lack of a better word, the Cavs need at 14 and 11 to reignite their season?
I was going to ask you, Mike, to put a circle around the calendar. Put a circle around December 10th. And let's do this. Let's give them a second chance to make a first impression this year. And here's why I say that. Playing competitive sports my whole life, Dustin, you did. Bull, you were involved in sports. The hardest thing for an athlete to do is to really self-inspect, to really do it. Because most of us, because we're men and we believe we're good at what we do, we all have egos. The hardest thing to do for a human being, not just an athlete, is to sit across from someone and have them break you down. We talked about Chad Ochocinco in the last segment. We did a show where Chad was becoming an antagonist to Skip while he was still playing. And Ocho, on one of his visits on the show, said, "I'll debate you anywhere, anytime." Skip said, "Fine, we'll come to Cincinnati." So in the middle of a week, I couldn't believe that the Bengals agreed to do this. They cleared out the Bengals locker room and they turned it into a television studio. We had 30 people, cameras, audio, directors, producers. We did our 2-hour show live from Cincinnati in their locker room. Me, Skip, and Stephen A. We started the show and we agreed on this, and Ocho told me before the show, I'm good with that. Skip wanted to start, and he said, my opening salvo is going to be 10 minutes. It's going to be it's going to be critical and an examination of Ocho. And he sat across from Ochocinco and for 10 minutes said the most abusive, reckless, corrosive comments that I've ever heard another human being say to another man's face. You're selfish. You're all about you. You don't care about anything but you. This went on for 10 minutes. Right hand to God. It's on the internet. You can look it up. Ocho was brought to tears. After the show, now we did regroup. In the commercial break, we kind of went off to the side without Skip and said, bro, this is your standing 8 count. You got to come back. Right. You've got to come back from this. And he did the rest of the show. And when we were all done in the post-mortem, he said, I've never had anyone talk to me like that. Ever. Not a friend, not a parent, not a coach, not a teammate, ever. And it was hard to hear. And I bring that up now because I love the way the Cavs respond. And it wasn't just Hunter.
Other players talked.
Other players talked too. We ran it yesterday
I just used his quote.
On Channel
Other
3.
Players talked.
The other guys that commented, this is what you want. This is how you want a champion to respond. You want a champion to absorb it, to listen to it, and to say, wow, this might be true. I need to self-examine. And the reason I say circle December 10th on the calendar, I did some research yesterday. As we stood yesterday on December 9th, the Cavaliers were 14-11. Last year at this point, they were 21-4. The more remarkable stat that I found was they've lost their 11th game on December 7th, I think. Last year, they did not lose their 11th game until March 16th.
Wow.
They're 3 months behind where they were last year. And this event needed to happen. And I'm really glad that it happened. And I'm really glad the way the team took the criticism. Now, you know what the saying is, don't tell me who you are, show me. So I want to see what they do from December 10th for the next 25 games. Are they better than 14-11? I hope they're closer to the 21-4 team that we saw last year.
I mean, there's 2 ways this could go. I mean, this could be a huge positive that we point back to this date and say this is the moment where these guys got their stuff together.
Right.
Or it could be one of these things where, you know, everyone's clapping for Jerry Maguire after he gave him the mission statement.
But no one follows him.
But no one followed him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it can go one of 2 ways with it. You can be the Jerry Maguire thing and he takes his goldfish and everyone claps him on the way out and they say, I can't believe that.
Yeah.
So if these guys are saying the right things, but then behind the scenes you're like, man, Kenny's full of, you know what?
Yeah, that's why I said, don't tell me, show me.
So we'll find out how they respond.
We will.
The only thing about marking the calendar today is that the Cavs' next 6 games are against the 4 worst teams in the NBA.
Okay, but Bull, they've been losing to sub-500 teams last week.
I'm talking about the worst teams in the NBA.
I get that, and that's fine.
Like, look who they're playing here.
Bull, they've lost to terrible teams in the last 10 games.
They haven't lost to teams like this.
They're 4-6 over the last 10, and Mike, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think 3 or 4 of those losses are to teams with sub-500 records.
Mike, this is a different level, is it not?
Yeah, I mean,
it is. Well, you're right. These are horrible teams that they better boat race.
I mean,
and maybe Kenny did this strategically.
And the game that's not on that list right after that is New Orleans. So Washington and New Orleans, who they play 2 of the next 6, are the 2 worst teams.
They should beat
NBA.
with their subs.
Mm-hmm. Charlotte's probably the 3rd or 4th worst team in the NBA, Mike?
They've been playing better lately, but they're not good. No,
well, and Chicago, who got off to a good start, has lost 7 in a row.
Right,
so
but Bull, I give Kenny Atkinson credit. There's method to his madness. You're not going to give a speech like that before you play 4 great teams.
I hear you, but even if they go 6-0 in these games, it doesn't matter anything.
This is why I said circle the calendar.
Yeah,
and let's circle back after the next 25 games.
Fine, that's fine. Yeah, I hear you.
Because last year, in the first 25 games, they were 21-4.
Right.
This year, they're 14-11.
Well, and this 6-game stretch gives them a chance to ramp up for the good teams that are coming after.
And you know what? That's good for them. Let them get fat on bad competition.
Yeah.
It's good for the confidence. And what I love about this is they can now go out and put to the test what Kenny showed them was their deficiencies.
Yeah.
And they're going to win, and they're going to look good, but they're also going to say, Coach was right.
Yeah, well, the coach was absolutely right. He was look at the polar opposites. Last year we got reports that Kevin Stefanski was afraid to call out bad plays by Deshaun Watson.
We did hear
in
that.
film study. Meanwhile, the coach of the Cavs, a franchise that's been successful, or some level successful, certainly a lot more than the Browns, is calling players out, including the best players.
Second-year coach.
Right, and guys are, or at least seem publicly to be embracing this fair criticism because I always think as a player, if you think, I know as when I was in radio, and Dustin may laugh at this because he's used to watching me have fights with program directors. But I always thought if the program director of the radio station, if I thought he believed in me, then I was willing to listen to criticism.
Oh, really?
You know what I'm saying? Like if that guy was on, if I felt he was on my side, then I'm open to criticism. Okay. That's fair.
That's interesting.
But if you're just criticizing to be a jerk, I don't care. Like if some random fan that hates me says you should do this, and I don't care what you have to say.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think I was a little different. I can think back to like my wrestling coach.
Yeah.
Who I never doubted that he was on my side, but my God, I just felt like he was overly hard and critical on me, and I hated a lot of my time under him. But about 10 years ago, I was lucky enough to be elected into my high school Hall of Fame, and I was put in as baseball and wrestler. And they came to me, and it was the most difficult question I'd ever been asked. It's like picking between parents. They said, which coach do you want to induct you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, my God, I love my baseball. My baseball coach was my biggest advocate. My wrestling coach was harder on me. But then I asked this question, which made me a better person? Which had more to do with the person that I've ultimately became? It was no question my wrestling coach, because he taught me through adversity. He showed me where my strength really was.
Right, but
and that's where it was.
But then
so I said, I want him to put me in.
But he wanted you to succeed.
He did, but like I in my TV career early on, I had a boss who used to chastise me. I had a bad habit when I would be live in the field. I would have scripts in front of me, and I was constantly looking down at them. And he goes, "What is this? What is this? Your Hazard, Kentucky? Is this your first market? You don't need your scripts. Throw them away." And I thought he liked me, but I mean, that was the best criticism I was ever given in my business, because you know what I did after that?
I think you can.
Done.
If you have the self-awareness to be able to, and I tell this to my daughter all the time because she plays tennis and she has multiple coaches. If you have the ability to learn something doesn't have to be everything they say. You don't have to take it all, but if you try to gain something out of it, like even if you have a boss who's a total d-bag, and they give you a ton of criticism, like I still try to like sift through it.
Right.
And take something.
Is there something there?
Yeah. Because I do need to look in the mirror and have some self-evaluation.
I think we all do. Yeah. And I think, Mike, the best thing about this is we've commented on this group's personality collectively. They're good guys, right? They're not. We don't have divas. We don't have any troublemakers. We don't have any eyes. They're all good guys. I genuinely believe that they are going to rally around this. They are going to become a much better basketball team than what we've seen so far, because quite frankly, 14-11 is, I don't want to call it an abomination. It's
a disaster.
It has been, disaster is a fine word. When you're 21-4 the previous year, and all you talk about after you get bounced from the offseason was how pissed off you were and how we're going to show everybody, and you show up at the party 14-11, like, it's not been good. And they needed this, and I can't wait to see what they do in the next 25 games.
Back in action on Friday. Guys, we got Ross Tucker in the queue. Let's bring Ross in after a quick word from FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game. You're reacting to it in real time. And with FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. And with that, we are thrilled to welcome back Ross Tucker to the show. How you doing today, Ross?
I am doing fantastic. How are you guys doing?
Let's see how you're doing in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know how everybody loves, no matter what you say about Shedeur, they can slice, dice, twist. It's become, have you seen in your playing or media career, have you seen another athlete that has elicited this kind of emotion and reaction?
The only two that come to mind would probably be Tim Tebow and, to I guess a lesser extent, Colin Kaepernick. But I don't really remember Kaepernick really playing all that much, after he did what he did. Tebow, there was, a bunch of people that would watch him and say, he sucks. He can't throw. Are you not watching? Like, they're winning these games. He's the luckiest kid we've ever seen. He can't play. And then there was the other half that's like, he finds a way. Somehow, some way, he finds a way. He's a winner. It's leadership. So I think probably Tebow might be the most common or the closest, but still not sure it's at the same level as Shedeur.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Tebow's the other guy, and I was at First Take with Skip Bayless during those years, and Skip was Tim Tebow's biggest fan, and he used to say it every week, this guy's going to be great, he's going to be great, and we'd watch him, and he'd be 11 for 24, and he'd throw the game-winning touchdown pass after doing nothing for 4 quarters, and then we'd have to come in on Monday and listen to Skip say how he was right and how he's great, and ultimately we remember how it turned out. But man, was he divisive, and he was also a ratings juggernaut, as is Shedeur. The other guy, I don't know if you remember this or not, and it was brief, and it wasn't as hot, but when Jeremy Lin came into the NBA, he had a similar impact because everybody kept watching him and saying, this isn't sustainable. How is he doing this? And he flamed out even quicker than Tebow did when he left New York.
If you factor in the social media aspect of this, there's no comparison really. Because
there was social media though during the Tebow boom.
Yeah, but not to this degree, not the way people use it now.
I'll agree with that.
And people are on the extremes of both sides are out of their minds when it comes to this. But Ross, the truth is that yourself and a lot of other people thought the Browns led us to believe that Shedeur Sanders wasn't ready to play and that Dillon Gabriel was more ready to play. And they gave the impression that if Shedeur came in, things would be worse than it was with Dillon Gabriel. And that's clearly not been the case, right? The offense has been better with Shedeur than it was at any point with Dillon Gabriel, certainly this last game. And so how would I have any faith in Kevin Stefanski at this point if he truly believed Dillon Gabriel was better than Shedeur?
You know what I think I find fascinating about that is that we see stuff like this happen all the time. And what a lot of people like to do is say, well, the coaches know. I mean, the coach, they're the ones around him every day.
Yeah.
The coaches know. There's a lot of examples of coaches, front office executives, whoever, having one guy start and that's the guy, and they don't know. I mean, listen, you don't think that if Bill Belichick and Scott Pioli, they didn't know what they had in Brady.
That's correct.
They liked Brady. They kept him as the backup. But if they knew he was going to be Tom freaking Brady, they would have benched Bledsoe before Mo Lewis hit him. The point is I think on some level, you don't know what you have until they're out there. And how would you? I don't know. Shedeur Sanders, I mean, he got hurt once at least during training camp. And the first preseason game, he did some good things. Second game, he didn't play at all. Third preseason game, he was awful. So they have Flacco and whatever. They have Gabriel, who looked pretty good in that second preseason game against the Eagles. And then during the season, Shedeur is really just doing the scout team. So how would they have any idea of really knowing how he would perform other than their perception of him from practice and meetings, etc.? And obviously, they really did not think that he would be able to play at this high of a level, and/or they thought that Dillon Gabriel was better, gave him a better chance to win. I think that those guys are probably different from a personality standpoint. I think they're probably different in terms of in a meeting, how they would come across, maybe their football knowledge. Shedeur Sanders, I would say, having spoken with him now, is probably non-traditional in terms of when you meet with him, as well as, and I heard this from multiple people, sort of how he sees the game, how he learns the game. In other words, he's a gamer. I think he's much better on the field with a natural feel for spatial awareness, how the game's unfolding. I think that he's got a gift in that regard, and that he's much better actually out there in a game situation than he would be in the meeting room telling you where he's supposed to go with the ball on certain plays against certain coverages. But that becomes really hard for coaches. It becomes really hard for coaches if the guy can't do a great job of explaining where he should throw the football based on what you're telling him you want him to do. But yet then when he goes out there on the field, he does a much better job than he does when he's at practice or certainly in the meeting room. I mean, that would be tough for any of us, I think.
Ross, one guy that Shedeur's throwing the football to is Harold Fannin, who's had a really remarkable rookie year for a third-round pick. You know, you cover the league, you watch all these other teams, and where do you put him with the other rookie tight ends that you've seen and maybe even seen over the last several years? I mean, it seems like he's got a chance to be a pretty good player.
I love him. I love Fannin for so many reasons. First of all, he'll get after you as a blocker. You know, he's not some massive dude, but he'll get after you. He can play about a zillion different places and positions. H-back, fullback, wing, slot, split out, Y tight end. I mean, all of those things. His run after the catch, you know, that was my famous from a couple weeks ago, Ernest Mack, I think I said, you know, when Harold Fannin was running people over. It was so funny because I think I told you guys this, but I'm watching and it's like I was thinking Kevin Mack, but then I thought Kevin Mack's 34, not 44. Anyway, at any rate, you guys knew what I meant. And then to high point the ball or make contested catch like he did against the Titans, to get open like he did against the Niners. I mean, that was a terrific pick. And it's funny because he was so productive at Bowling Green, but he kind of runs a little awkward and, you know, does not look overly athletic, looks a little stiff at times, and didn't run a great 40 time. And Stefanski told us in one of the production meetings that they were thrilled when he ran such a bad 40 time because it made them feel like they had a better chance to get him in the third round as opposed to having to move up or get him in the second round. So, obviously, to get Schlesinger where they got him, to get Fannin where they got him, on some level to get Judkins where they got him, I don't think there's that much of a difference between Judkins and Ashton Genty. You know, when you watch them, I don't know. I mean, they seem like pretty similar to me. So to get those guys where they got him, and potentially Shedeur where they got him, it's really truly impressive.
I want to circle back, Ross, to some of the things you said about Shedeur, because I'm fascinated by this. You know, in a way, it reminds me of when Bill Polian very famously said about Lamar Jackson that he'd be a wide receiver. There's a lot of groupthink in sports, right? We see this all the time. Somebody does something well, and everybody wants to copy. We see a lot of groupthink. And if Lamar Jackson had come into the league 20 years earlier, he would not have been as successful because there would be too many coaches, maybe all coaches, who were unwilling to be creative, to say this guy he doesn't fit the norm. He has to play a different way. And instead of trying to force him into the way I want him to play, we're going to take his strengths and play to it. And I still think there's not enough coaches to do that, but he fortunately ended up in an organization that would. And I think this, on some level, that's what's happened in this whole process with Shedeur Sanders. And I don't know him personally, obviously, and I'm not an expert on college football, so I don't know really what his future holds. But I do think, yes, I said this the other day, what you just said. He doesn't sound like a traditional quarterback. He doesn't play like there's nothing traditional about him. But the smart teams and the good coaches will say, hey, if this guy's good, I got to find a way to connect with him on whatever level, whatever frequency he's running at, and not just say, you got to be on my frequency. The good coaches, I think, can change their frequency to connect with players who might be special. And we'll see. And I'm rambling a little bit here, but I think all of this led to him dropping in the draft, and ultimately why The Browns were whispering that he's not ready when clearly he is ready to play. We'll see how good he does going forward. There'll be some inconsistency, but there's been a lot of misevaluation, I think, of Shedeur Sanders along the way. I've rambled. What do you make of what I've said there?
Well, so one of the things that you said that resonated with me was I do think it's interesting, the Lamar Jackson comparison, in the sense that, you can argue that Lamar, especially when he was a rookie, didn't sound like a starting quarterback, whatever that even means, right? And certainly didn't play like the perception of a starting quarterback. I think to Bill Polian's point, Polian's success in Buffalo was Jim Kelly. In Indianapolis, it was Peyton Manning. The belief was you couldn't really have a quarterback run that much. They're going to get hurt. It's not going to work. They're not going to be able to last through the year. And I give the Ravens a tremendous amount of credit. The Ravens said, you know what? Let's do it. Let's have a lot of quarterback run game, and hopefully he can get out of bounds or slide. And I mean, they took the world by storm. That's why he was the MVP that year. Nobody had any idea how to stop him. But he was non-traditional in multiple ways. And I think Shedeur's obviously not the athlete that Lamar is, although he's better athlete than I think he gets credit for. I really like that rushing touchdown. And even taking the shot in the end zone. My favorite thing about Shedeur Sanders at Colorado was just how tough he is. I mean, that guy got blasted so many times, and he just kept coming. But he is non-traditional. And so what I would say is, in both when you meet with him on some extent and how he sees and talks the game. And so I think that is, Bull, probably hard. I think everybody knows this, but once he didn't go in the first round, so let's take a step back, okay? If you're taking a quarterback in the first round or on some level high in the second, you're basically going to say they're the starter. And if you're a GM or a head coach, you're kind of putting your fate, your future, your career in their hands. And I can see how if you met with Shedeur, you would think, boy, I don't know if that's who I want to put, my career in their hands of, because he is sort of non-traditional. And then what happened is, after that was the case, you didn't want to take him in the second, third round or whatever, because then you didn't want the most talked about guy on the roster to be a backup quarterback. I think that hurt him. You didn't want all of the scrutiny and attention for a guy that was a backup quarterback. And I think that the Browns organization actually deserves a lot of credit for taking him when they did. There were other teams, I strongly believe, that were going to take him on that third day, but the Browns kind of beat him to it, and the Browns took him before some of these other franchises were going to, and now they've got a real asset on their hands. I don't know if he's a long-term franchise quarterback or even a starting quarterback, but he sure as heck was a good fifth-round pick. So, let's even say that the Browns at the end of this year still don't think he's the guy for them long-term. They'd be able to flip him now for a higher pick. I mean, that would be a good transaction by Andrew Berry. Let's just say the Browns had the number one pick, and they love Mendoza, and they think Mendoza is, a franchise guy for years, and they take Mendoza. They could now flip Shedeur, I would think, for way better than a fifth-round pick, because he's still young and he's shown a lot of promise. And so they kind of took the arrows and the attention and whatever that goes along with having Shedeur, and they've really created some value there now for the organization.
Yeah, it might sound like hyperbole, but we parsed this out Monday. When you look at their draft class, it's certainly the best draft class that they've put together probably in 20 years. You've got a tight end who's already broken the team's receiving record for a rookie tight end. We've got 4 games to play. He's probably going to finish with 900 receiving yards. You've got a running back who's on pace to go over 1,000. You've got a linebacker who is going to demolish the rookie all-time single-season tackle record. Should break it in 2 weeks with 2 weeks to play. And then you mentioned the Shedeur thing too. So that's how organizations can turn things around really quickly, is to hit on a lot of those picks. And whether Shedeur lasts or he turns into a chip, either way, it's positive. We only have a minute and a half to go here. I know you have a heart out. You met with Shedeur. You've talked briefly about some of the things. A couple of visits ago, we asked you about your experience with Shedeur last year when you were doing one of his college games. And there was some wires crossed. You actually didn't really get to talk to him. A lot was said and written about that. How are you on Shedeur as a person after you've actually sat across from him and you had a chance to meet with him in one of your pre-production meetings now?
Yeah, you know what? He's got a great way about him. He's got a great smile, and he's got sort of an infectious personality. You can see why he's so well liked by his teammates. He's very genuine, very authentic. Again, I would say, a little non-traditional in the sense that, maybe some of the responses were shorter than they typically are, and then some of the responses were longer than maybe they typically are, and you weren't necessarily sure which one you were going to get depending on the question that you asked. But the thing, and I said this during that Raiders game, I loved a couple of the things he said, Jay. Yeah. He said he felt like he was getting back to normal, and I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, having all the pressure, having everybody counting on me. Like, he wanted that. And then when I brought up the story I had heard about him carrying his iPad around all around the facility, even at meals, and someone describing it like he was cramming for a test, his response was, I don't have a choice. This is my opportunity. Yeah, I love people that understand opportunities are not perfect in life in general, certainly not in the NFL, and that you got to figure out a way to make the most of whatever you're given, whatever morsel of opportunity you're given, you got to make the most of it. And maybe that's from his dad, or maybe he just knew that.
Yeah.
But he very much understood that if it went really bad against the Raiders, that might be it. And obviously it didn't go bad, and they won the game, and he played well. And it feels like he's continuing to build on that and make the most of this opportunity. And so I really, really appreciate people that understand that, and I'm rooting for him. I love late round picks. I love undrafted guys. I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, he's Prime's kid, no doubt about that. He loves the spotlight, and he seems to raise his game when he's in it.
I couldn't. But real quick, right before the game starts, we're interviewing him, and Tiffany says, what would you say to all the Browns fans, that have been eagerly anticipating your first start? And he looks at the camera and says, I'm the guy you've been waiting for.
That's awesome. Baby Prime.
I could not believe he said that. I was like, this is going to be awesome. That was amazing.
He really is hard to root against. He's a likable kid, and let's just hope he keeps continue going up. Ross, we love your expert analysis. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Sounds great. See you guys.
Thanks, Ross.
Awesome. That was Ross Tucker. Guys, got to get one more topic in before we bring our guests onto the show. It's brought to you by Mint Mobile. If you're overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no at Mint Mobile. Their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. Mint makes it simple. All plans come with a high-speed data, unlimited talk and text plan delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your own phone number and keep your contacts. If you're ready to say yes to saying no, make the switch at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. Upfront payments of $45 are required. Limited time new customer offer for the first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on the unlimited plan. Taxes and fees are extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Mike, I really want to follow up on something Ross said. Is it absolutely necessary that we get to this?
Can we save that for do it now? We'll save the turnover topic for after.
Okay. So I felt that was very – I had a kind of eye-opening moment in that it already went with some things I was thinking, guys, but what he said, it all makes sense now. the NFL is an old boys network. And yeah, things have changed a little bit, but not that much. And most of the guys that run the show in these sports are cut from the same cloth, think the same way. Mm-hmm. They want a quarterback to sound a certain way, to carry himself a certain way. And Shedeur doesn't fit the norms that these guys are comfortable with. Because it's just like when I hear Stefanski and Berry and Antonetti and they all talk the same. It's like they went to the same school to learn how to talk.
There's an idea that a quarterback has to be the CEO or be this like presidential figure in terms of how you talk. Like you have to be like all buttoned up and super professional or whatever.
All right,
he's right on that. Someone told me that's involved in the game that teams don't want Jameis Winston as their quarterback because he's too playful. And this same person, when I asked, does Shedeur kind of fit that mold? And he said he does in a different way. And Jameis was playful. Jameis was fun. Everybody loved being with Jameis. Everybody. And I think that there's something to what you're saying about how we, in pro sports, we try to put people in silos. You know, round peg, round hole. Quarterback must be Tom Brady. Must be robotic. Must not show emotion. Yeah. All of that. Because typically, those are the ones that have won. But there are outliers in this world. And I love the example Ross gave about, coaches may not be impressed by him because in film study, he's making the wrong calls. He's saying, well, I'm going to throw the ball here. And the coach is going, no, that's the last place you want to throw the ball.
But Ross didn't say that specifically.
No, what he said was he might be giving the wrong answers in film study.
Sure.
But he's this rare breed that when you put him on the field, some guys are like this. The game just comes naturally to them. And when they see it in real time, they're able to say, oh, yeah, I need to go here. And he has the arm to put it there.
Yeah.
And I think what coaches and general managers are looking for are these robotic, unemotional guys who aren't the class clown. And Jameis was the class clown. And I think that Shedeur's personality is very similar in that he laughs, he jokes, he loves to have fun. If he can win, he can shatter that paradigm. And he can show the NFL that, look, it is a personality-based position. Well, I understand that, but doesn't mean someone with my personality can't succeed at it. And so he is a bit of a pioneer in that because most quarterbacks are all buttoned up. They're not joking. They're not playful. They're not. And I love the fact that he looked at the camera and he goes, I'm the guy you've been looking for.
We know who his father was.
He's baby prime.
Yeah. And so you don't typically see flashy guys at the quarterback position act that way. Doesn't make it right or wrong or whatever. It's just a little different than what we've seen.
It's
and if
non-traditional.
Shedeur continues to play the way that he played this past weekend, if he's responsible for 4 touchdowns and throws for over 350, he can say whatever the hell he wants.
It won't matter. It won't matter.
We've been saying for years, the Browns, like you see these other teams get a guy late, and it's rare that a late drafted quarterback turns out to be good. But it's always like, why did the Browns never get lucky? Why did the Browns? Maybe they finally have because they're. And again, if I'm wrong, I turn out to be wrong. I think it's clear to me based on. I was already trending in this direction, and Ross really brought it home for me. I think it's clear that there's no way this guy should have been drafted this late.
No,
and it was there were reasons why he was that are unfair in my opinion, but nevertheless it happened. I think it was purely based on talent, and his name wasn't Sanders, whatever. He would have been drafted by the second round, no later than
that. Thing that's interesting to me is I read a long piece, and I can't remember who wrote it. I want to say it was a Sports Illustrated piece. I could be wrong. They sort of dissected this, like how did this happen?
Yeah.
And one of the points that we made in real time, but I don't think we've driven it home enough, was last year was the bizarre year where it wasn't a great quarterback class, and really there weren't a ton of teams that were going for a quarterback. There were like 6 to 8 teams that thought we're going to get a quarterback, probably closer to 6. And some of those took them early, when they took them early. And then it was like, oh my God, he's passed over a second time and a third time. Well, by that point, there were only 2 or 3 teams that were even in the market for a quarterback. And the Browns were one of them. And after, they took theirs in the 3rd round, you thought, well, you could scratch the Browns off the list now. But I think Ross made the point of, at some point, teams were looking at it going, okay, now he's a value. Now he's an asset. Because even if we don't turn him into our future franchise starter, if he gets a look and plays well, maybe we flip him next year and we get a 5th or a 4th or a 3rd for him. Who knows?
I don't know. I'm not thinking about trading.
There weren't a lot of quarterbacks that were teams that needed quarterbacks last year, Bull.
Yeah, but
there weren't.
If his name weren't Sanders, he would have been drafted probably.
Well, that worked against him too.
I'm convinced he would have been drafted.
Another thing that worked against him too was he had a thing. Okay, the last guy that had a thing was drafted by Cleveland and it didn't work. What am I talking about? It was a signature.
Money sign.
Johnny Manziel. And a lot of teams, when Cleveland drafted him, they were snickering behind there. They say, okay, wait until you see how quickly this turns against him. And
that's what I thought on Sunday, watching it when what's-his-face was making it in his face. And then Shedeur comes back.
And then the whole defense ran to the end zone and was doing the
But those same
up.
players that are doing that thing like Shedeur Sanders.
Right. Of course they do.
Yeah. Nobody liked Johnny Manziel.
No, that's not true.
Johnny Manziel's a clown.
Johnny Manziel was a clown, but Johnny had a pocket of fans that were on other teams.
He's talking about the players' respect on the field, I think.
Oh, yeah, okay, maybe. Oh, Shedeur's in the
Even the guys on the Titans who are mocking him, I think still like him.
100%.
100%. You heard some of the things some of those players said about him after the game.
Yes.
But I do think when you do this and when you do this, you might as well put a target on your back.
Sure.
I'm not saying
Aaron Rodgers does this.
Yes, but by that point, Aaron Rodgers had a Super Bowl.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of it was, I've got the Super Bowl trophy now. Boom.
Well, he wasn't doing that before it?
No.
It was after he won the Super Bowl.
Discount double check.
All right, I guess.
And so that's okay. And really, you don't even see a lot of guys like, what was Brady's thing?
Nothing.
No. LFG. That was Brady's thing. You know, that really was Brady's thing.
Most quarterbers don't do, and that's why.
That's the traditional.
And that's why when so many coaches and so many GMs are cut from the same cloth, it's hard to find teams that are, and that's ultimately what led to a lot of this. Cam Newton. Right.
Yeah.
Superman.
But Cam Newton was an MVP in a Super Bowl. You know, went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All right, where are we going, Mike?
We got to bring in our guest now. So, Dustin, appreciate you showing up for the first 75% of today's show. We're going to let Dustin go. Bring in our guests, guys. They are the good people from the Home Builders Association. You can gift big with the Home for the Holidays raffle this year. You have a chance to win an absolutely gorgeous new custom home or a cash prize, and it makes it even better when you help make the wishes come true for Make-A-Wish kids with critical illnesses. Raffle proceeds benefit the Make-A-Wish OKI, which has granted over 22,000 wishes to children facing critical illnesses across Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana since 1983. This year's house is a custom-built ranch by Petros Homes, a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath, 3-car garage home. Also includes some amazing features like a great room with vaulted ceilings, an unbelievable kitchen with beautiful finishes, and a large hidden pantry, plus a mudroom with open lockers and a unique pet shower station. One lucky winner will be announced on December 24th, so get your $100 tickets now. Just visit HomeForTheHolidays.org to buy your tickets. That's HomeForTheHolidays.org. Terms and conditions apply.
Gentlemen, welcome. Please introduce each of yourselves and tell us what you're here for.
Well, I'll start with me. I'm Ed Flash Ferentz, longtime broadcaster in Cleveland, Ohio.
I can tell by the voice.
You can tell by the voice.
He's got the voice of God over there.
It still works for me, and I'm very proud of that.
You should be.
But I worked in the glory days of rock and roll radio back in the 70s and 80s.
No kidding. Wow, that was the glory days.
Right here in Cleveland, WMMS.
All right. Oh, wow.
Home of the
Buzzard.
You got it. You got it.
Rob Myers with the Build Trades Foundation. Also own my own businesses in custom home building and audio video, like we are today.
Great.
So we install all this stuff.
Wonderful.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about the HomeForTheHolidays.org. The one thing that you hear in the news all the time right now is affordable housing, affordable housing. When you see this and you have a chance to win it for $100, I don't know that there's any more affordable housing than that house for $100. This is the answer to affordable housing.
Well, here's how it's affordable. You buy a $100 ticket and you win it.
That's it.
There you go.
That is it.
Doesn't get more affordable than that.
It's a beautiful home.
Oh, absolutely.
And Mike's been telling us about the home because we've been reading the advertisements for a while on the show now. I jokingly had said when we first brought the home on, I said, that would be a wonderful home for an experiment where we have all of the UCSS members and other Cleveland media members move into. We put 75 cameras, and it's like the live-in, real-world experience of a home. Tell us a little bit more about the house, guys, and some of the features that it offers.
Well, we've been doing this for this is the 6th year in Cleveland. It started back in 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic, and it has grown considerably since then. And this home here, it checks all the boxes. It's about 2,700 square feet, just shy of that, and it's a ranch. What makes it so spectacular is when you walk in there, I mean, you're looking at ceilings that range anywhere between 9 and 14 feet.
Wow, so it's grand.
Yeah, it is amazing. All the latest products. It's got a hidden pantry that you can walk into. It's about 10 by 10. It has a 3-season, almost a 4-season room outside that's attached to the living area.
Right.
It's all screened in. The wood is special wood. It's from Finland.
Wow.
And they take all the moisture out of the wood so it'll never warp. And it's got a beautiful finish.
Wow.
And it's laid out. The best room to watch a Browns game or a Cavs game in. Now it's screened in. It's got heaters. It's got a fireplace. It's got the TV set up and everything. It's just amazing.
And it's easy to get outside if you want to go yelling and screaming after the game.
Exactly.
Especially if you're watching the Browns.
Yeah, we do a lot of that these days as we're watching the Browns.
Yeah. Where's the money? Talk about what this was all about, how it started, and what the money is going to help.
If I might, for just a second.
Yeah.
I want to take this opportunity, Adam, to thank you.
Oh.
Because all during COVID, you and the other broadcasters, I was still working because I was in construction.
Yeah.
And as I'm driving around to my jobs, I'm listening to you guys talking on sports. And it was one of the things that sort of kept everything grounded, which was a really weird time because I was one of the only ones on the road. Everything was shut down.
So I appreciate it. That was I will tell you real quick that there was no tougher time. And I work in the toy department of the world. I get it, but that was the toughest time ever to be a sports broadcaster because there were no sports to talk about.
No.
And normally, if you're on a radio show, you normally most times will have anywhere from 16 to 18 minutes commercials in an hour. So you get a break, and you need a break when you're doing a 5-hour show. Well, not only was there no sports to talk about, a lot of our advertisers canceled. So we were doing, instead of 5-minute, 6-minute commercial breaks, it was maybe a minute. We throw a promo in there. Wow. So we were doing like 55 minutes an hour, 56 minutes an hour instead of 42. And, sometimes we went off the rails with the topics, but we wanted, it was a tough time for everybody.
Yeah.
And we wanted to try to entertain people that were out there.
Be that escape.
Well, I just wanted to tell you that people out that were listening to you really appreciate it.
I appreciate that.
Now, for what this event does, so this is the best for charity event there is anywhere. Because not only are you helping Make-A-Wish kids, you're helping bring construction trade training back into high schools. So everybody knows what Make-A-Wish does, right?
Yeah.
And you're giving these kids that are having an existential health problem and their families, you're giving them an opportunity to have a really cool day and a cool experience where the entire family, their whole family, gets to focus on something completely off topic of the health issue that they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So we love Make-A-Wish and we love being partners with them. We've been doing this now 5 years. We've been able to give Make-A-Wish just a smidge under $1 million.
That's awesome.
Wow.
We also, so that's what Make-A-Wish does, so you guys know that. What we do is we bring construction trade training into high schools. So we started off with 1 school and 6 kids. 2 years later, we're in 5 schools. We have about 120 kids. We're talking to 20 schools for fall of 2026. We are making sure that all the kids going through our program have jobs at the other end of the pipeline. So we're matching the kids with our HBA members that are looking for employees. We're short 70,000 construction workers just in the state of Ohio.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Well, I mean,
That's unbelievable.
That number in 3 years is going to be 100,000.
And to your point about the high schools, when I went to high school, we had wood shop
class,
auto shop.
Right.
We had an auto body class if you wanted to do that. And I don't know how we lost our bearings, but I went back about 8 years ago to kind of tour my high school again. And the first place I wanted to go to was the wood shop. It created a lifelong love that I have with working with wood.
Right.
And I said, I want to see the shop. And I go back there, and it's a huge place, and it's a storage unit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I said, what happened? He goes, oh, no, we don't do home ec, we don't do wood shop, we don't do auto shop. And I'm like, these were kids found lifelong passions in these classes, and for some reason we just dropped them.
Not everybody can afford college. Not everybody is meant to go to college necessarily. Yeah.
Adam, that's a really great point.
Yeah.
Human beings are wired to build things.
Yeah.
And we're wired to make things. And we've been doing it for hundreds of thousands of years. So there's a significant, I mean, yes, there's kids that are great at learning book stuff and math and science and things like that. But the bulk of humanity is wired to make things. And about, 15 or 20 years ago, the schools started to get compensated more if more kids went to 4-year colleges. And so they sort of lost the interest in focusing on giving kids this outlet. And we're bringing it back. And I can tell you that in the places where we've brought our programming to, the kids love it.
Yeah.
And they're helping each other learn different things. They're getting,
now, are some of these kids getting the opportunity to actually work on a house like this, or not yet?
So the program is a pre-apprenticeship program. It goes through the 9 different modules of construction, so plumbing, heating, cooling, electrical, and things like that. We also take the kids out and show them houses in various stages of construction. Nice. They get to talk to guys like me that are in construction and some of my subs, not mine personally, but whoever's working on the houses that we're showing them. And they get to talk and interact with these contractors and learn what these guys do on a day-to-day basis. And so, and then by us matching them with our companies, we're giving them that outlet where at the end of the day, they graduate from high school, they're making money on the first day out of high school.
With no student debt.
With no student debt.
Right.
And so we've got kids that graduated from our program a couple years ago that are working for electrical contractors, they're working for Pella Windows, they're working for a cabinet company, making cabinets and things like that.
You know, it's funny, I had my house redone last year in the winter. And I use Perino Builders, which is a company I've been doing commercials for many years. And they do have subcontractors, and they use Tri-County Electric, which is a company I've used personally as well. And I noticed there was a lot of younger guys all of a sudden. There was one, I know some of the woodwork is done by this Amish group, and they had a couple of young guys that were kind of learning. In that community, obviously, they all still built. But I think there's a lot of, local Ohio kids that like this is going to be really good for. So it's a good thing that you're doing that. I think it's a good opportunity for people. We've gone so far, we've gone too far. People are losing their jobs in technology with all this AI. There's got to be good jobs and hopefully good paying jobs for people that can work with their hands because it's an amazing skill to have. I'm curious, how do you pick the schools that you're going with?
Well, so to begin with, we sort of picked each other.
Okay.
The school, we've been trying to do this for I've been a member of the HBA for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And we've been trying to get the attention of schools for as long as I've been a member, but only probably in the last 5 years, schools have shown an interest in bringing this stuff back.
Good.
And so we started off with one school where they had a really enthusiastic teacher, and the administration was really enthusiastic. The very first meeting I thought was going to be me pushing, and they had the school treasurer there, and I thought he was going to put the kibosh on it, even though we're paying all their startup costs.
Right.
Really?
Yes.
To get all the equipment and everything?
Yeah, we're providing, we're taking all the friction away. They have to supply the instructor and the space, but we're supplying everything else.
Tremendous.
And so, but anyway, but the entire administrative staff that was at that meeting was so enthusiastic about following through on it that it just went. And so once one school starts doing it, other schools start doing it. So that school was involved with 11 other schools in a tech program where they had 12 schools feeding into this one tech program, where they were
like a vocational education.
Exactly, they were building like a building inside a warehouse.
So that's perfect for that.
It's perfect, except they got one instructor. Out of those 12 schools, they could only handle 25 kids total.
Right.
They were turning over 100 kids away every year. Right. By using our program, each of those 12 schools, if they get into it, some of them are
on
now,
their sites.
they can do it on the school site, And now now it scales. So if you're trying to deal with a number like 70,000, you can't get there 25 kids at a time. You got to scale it in a way where you spread this out organically, and all of a sudden you got 25 kids in 25 schools.
I love that that's coming back, because it was a part of our society that I wondered. I'm like, well, what are we going to do when we run out of people to build things? AI is great. It's not going to build a house.
Yeah.
Flash, before you leave, for those that are watching that might be sitting on a little extra money right now, maybe they got $100 and they want to roll the dice and turn $100 into that beautiful new house. How do they do it?
The best advice I can give is just go to HomeForTheHolidays.org. A Home for the Holidays. You see it right on your screen, and tickets are $100. You can buy as many tickets as you want, and the drawing will go to the end of December 21st.
Wow, so it'll be a great Christmas present.
Yeah.
It's the tickets are great stocking stuffers for anybody. They're gifts. If you don't want the house for whatever reason, you don't want to live in Richfield and you don't want a nice $800,000 house,
you can sell it.
You can sell it, or you can take a cash prize instead. So you can elect to take, you can elect to just take cash.
So it's an $800,000 value.
It's I think $850.
$850.
Wow.
Yeah,
pretty,
inflation.
I mean, especially this
By the time this is done, it'll be $900,000.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong, Flash. All right, there you go. A HomeForTheHolidays.org.
Yeah.
$100 investment. You could turn it into an $850,000 palace that you can call your very own. You can watch Browns games. You can yell at your big screen TV in there. No one's going to hear you. I'm sure it's well insulated.
Yeah.
You can all of your Cleveland sports frustration can happen right there in that home. Guys, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And thanks for bringing back the love of young people and building things, because it is a real problem in America right now.
I need to take the class because I can't fix anything.
I'll teach it. How's that?
There you go. Let's go.
I love woodworking.
Yeah.
Let's leave on this one note.
Yeah.
This is one job you have for life. When you learn a trade, nobody can take that away from you. It can't be outsourced.
You're right.
Think about that.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And my favorite part about it is this. You see kids graduating with 6-figure student loan debt. And now they've got to spend the next 20 or 30 years practicing their profession, paying back the license to be able to do that. To your point, your guys are graduating high school, they've got some background, they're getting into the trades, 18, 19, 20 years old, making real money. Yes, it's a blue collar, you're working, but a good day's work, a good day's pay, and you've got no student debt that you're straddled with for 10, 20 years.
Yeah, I want to just say this about that. So this dichotomy between white collar and blue collar, that's so bogus to me.
In what way?
That's so bogus. Some of the most brilliant people I've ever met are working with their hands.
Yeah.
And I've met people that have white collar banking jobs that I wouldn't hire to run a lemonade stand. Okay?
Just got great connections.
So
don't stereotype one way or the other.
Exactly. And I just want to remind all your viewers and everything that this is the best Two for Charity event there is, because all those construction jobs, all those construction kids, all of that stuff that we kind of focused on a little bit on, yes, that's true, and that's awesome, but also these Make-A-Wish kids, the money that we're raising with this event stays in Northeast Ohio, so the Make-A-Wish kids that are being helped by this are all our own kids in Northeast Ohio.
Wow, that's great. You can't beat that. Rob, Flash,
great stuff, guys.
Thanks for
Good
coming
work.
in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good luck to everybody that's playing. I'm going to buy a ticket.
I'm going to buy one too.
I'm buying
You
a
never know.
ticket.
Buy two.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I might buy some for friends, family. I mean, can you imagine? You give someone $100 gifts for Christmas and they win an $850,000 house. I'm going to want something back in return if I give that gift. Yeah, maybe a weekend in the house, something. I got to have some kind of perk. That's not a bad deal.
Awesome.
Guys, thanks so much for coming
Thank
in.
you.
We appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. We'll get to Super Chats in 1 sec. Reminder that after the game this week, just like on every Sunday, we are having our Browns post-game show. We did 100K on a post-game show after Shedeur's monster performance against the Tennessee Titans. We cannot wait to see what he does in follow-up fashion this weekend against the Chicago Bears. So make sure you guys tune in and hang out with us on the 2-Minute Warning Show. As always, we start when the 2-Minute Warning goes live. It is not set to start at 4 p.m., 4:05. We go when the 2-Minute Warning hits, not before that. So we appreciate everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you on Sunday at the conclusion of the Browns game. Real quick. We're going to save the which quarterback could play Phillip Rivers' role for the Browns for overtime because we have a bunch of super chats.
Mm-hmm.
But real
quick.
Outside of the quarterback position, which former retired Browns player do you think could come in and actually help this team right now?
Phil Dawson. Besides quarterback.
Okay. Well, no, but I don't think Tim Couch can help the Browns at quarterback.
Right.
I think he can help them at middle linebacker.
Yeah, right.
I see what you did there.
I mean,
middle linebacker. He might be like a defensive end now.
Tim Couch is like a freak of nature.
Yeah, I mean, he's a monster.
An absolute freak of nature. But yeah, Phil would be interesting.
Can he still make field goals?
I think he could make them from 35, 40 yards.
It's funny.
I don't know if he could make them from 50.
Tim Couch was a quarterback who now would have to play linebacker or defensive end.
Sure.
Joe Thomas was a left tackle who might now need to play tight end.
Maybe.
Because he has lost, he's like 250 now.
I know. He's lost a ton of weight. He could never
really
play. At his weight, he could never have played left tackle in the NFL.
Really obnoxious, Joe, that you not only are a great guy and a great football player, but now you're skinny. It's very obnoxious.
Yeah.
He's not just skinny, he's shredded.
Yeah,
he's just ridiculous.
He's ripped.
He's ridiculous.
So is Couch. I mean, it's nuts. When you see Tim in real life, everybody, there was a couple of years ago when we were doing the preseason games, we were out at practice, and the guys were coming up to him going, what the heck what's going on with you?
Yeah, right.
He's like, I work out 3 hours a day.
Wait a second. Here's the real answer. Josh Cribbs.
Yeah, Josh.
He's not that old.
He looks like he's still in pretty good shape.
I mean, he can at least catch the punts.
Does Josh Gordon count?
No kidding. Yeah, Josh Gordon's
he
really
played in the UFL or XFL.
And how old is Josh? He's probably like in his early 40s.
I don't know. I don't think he's
even that old.
I don't know, man.
No, because
he's 34.
Yeah,
he's born in 91.
What a terrible, terrible strategy.
He should be
the answer's got to be Josh Gordon then.
When you tell me he's 34 years old.
Yeah, but Josh was not like when he last played in the NFL. He wasn't very good.
He wasn't.
Whereas Josh Cribbs was kind of good to the end.
But 34 physically, he should be right near his prime.
I mean, who knows what kind of shape he's been keeping himself in? But
boy, his career was.
Josh Cribbs is 42.
Okay.
Hey, he could still catch a punt, Mike. We can't do that.
I'm just giving you the ages. All right, we got
Hell,
super
Tom
chats.
Brady won a Super Bowl at 46.
It's true. We're going to talk about quarterbacks coming out of retirement, which former Browns quarterback could pull the best Phillip Rivers in overtime. We got super chats, though. First off, 1999 MVP says, love the shirt, McNuggets. Shout out to Bayern Munich. Digital Mafia says, with all due respect, Kevin Stefanski gets no credit. Hell no was his exact words.
Hell no, we won't go.
Well, then don't give him blame for what happened with Dylan Gabriel.
Renee.
And by the way, keep that energy if Shedeur goes 12 of 32 with 3 picks in a game. You can't then blame it on the coach. So, it can't go both ways. You either think the coach has an impact or he doesn't. It can't just be he has a positive or a negative impact, but not a positive impact.
Renee Sand 5000 says, there is a different set of expectations for Shedeur and other rookies. Shedeur does not need to be in Cleveland.
Well, you hear that a lot from people that say trade him.
Well, because they're not Browns fans. They're Shedeur fans.
Yeah.
There's no loyalty to the Browns, and they feel like he's been mistreated by the Browns, and that's where we're at with that.
He's quite a phenomenon, man. He is quite a phenomenon. Because you don't see a lot of players that bring in fans that aren't from that city to root for, not the team.
No.
They're not rooting for the team.
No,
in fact,
not
you
at
can
all.
make an argument they're rooting against the team.
Yes.
They're strictly rooting for his success.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's bizarre. You don't usually see that in sports.
Nope, very rare.
Next one, Ready, Set, Soul Free TV says, Shedeur got all the blame for the Rams and the Ravens game, so he needs to get all the credit for his progress and ability to execute. Nobody said Kevin was coaching bad for those games. Shedeur has adjusted from more reps.
You're in your camp.
Silly.
Hey, I don't quickly. Did you see the Tim McCarver, the social media post? I think it was on Instagram, where it's a guy and he's telling a story. He goes, I've been trying to figure out why Kevin Stefanski hates Shedeur Sanders, and then I learned something that explains all of this. Kevin Stefanski's grandfather is Tim McCarver. And for those old enough, I know you'll remember this.
His grandfather is Tim McCarver?
Okay, that's what this gentleman claimed.
Oh, okay.
And then he said, famously, Tim McCarver, when he was covering the playoffs, asked Deion Sanders about, why don't you commit to one? You're not a craftsman. And Deion I think he said these during a broadcast. And Deion got so mad that when Tim McCarver was in the locker room doing a post-game celebration, Deion came up and dumped this huge tub of water on Tim McCarver. And McCarver got hot, really insulted Deion Sanders. So there was a major beef between Tim McCarver and Deion Sanders. And the man that posted this Instagram with all the confidence and assertion in the world said, Tim McCarver is Kevin Stefanski's grandfather. And now we know. Well, then I start reading the comments. I'm like, I've never heard that before. I start reading the comments, and people are saying, no. He's not his grandfather. Tim McCarver is his father-in-law. Kevin Stefanski married Tim McCarver's daughter.
Yeah.
And then I'm like,
Which
okay,
is not true either.
Let's go to AI and figure this out. And I typed it in, is Tim McCarver Kevin Stefanski's grandfather or father-in-law? And it said no. There have been recent videos posted online claiming that he's his father-in-law. Somebody has made a mistake in that Kevin Stefanski married a woman whose last name was McCarthy, not McCarver, and thus this fake news nonsense gets put out there that, now we know why Kevin Stefanski hates Shedeur Sanders. It's so, and this thing had like 87,000 likes.
Yeah, right. Go ahead, Mike.
Bigger Express says Dustin's a hater.
Okay.
Long hair don't care says Bull. You are so unbiased about this. When G is on, it seems like you're on one side. When J is on, you're on the other. I respect you staying grounded.
That's not true.
You don't switch sides.
No.
What side?
He's seemingly complimenting me, saying I've been unbiased, which I am. I call it like I see it, but I don't have a different of his opinion.
Well, then he's saying that you're not true to your opinion. That when I'm on, you go one way, and when G's on, you go another way.
And by the way, G and I were arguing. We had what I thought was a fascinating argument about
yesterday.
Something
I thought it was
involving
really
Shedeur
good,
yesterday. So no, I don't change my opinion based on who's the panel. No.
Bailey Blanton said, all-time moment to start the show. Jay, what do guys do? We bust on each other. Funny.
I saw you guys react to that back there. I got to tell you.
I didn't even pick up on that one, believe it or not.
And I didn't either.
Yeah.
But after I said it and I saw you guys going, oh, my God, that's ultimate great pause. I'm like, I won't say it because it's derogatory, but I
we love that stuff.
No, I know we do, and I do too. Yeah. I point out on it, but it's just like, oh my God.
I didn't even pick up on that.
Some people's minds are just
Mike
stay
got
there.
A filthy
they
mind.
just
Mike's got a filthy mind.
Stay there.
He's in the gutter.
They don't drift and come and go there. They're just living there.
You're living
Full
in the gutter.
disclosure, I taped something this morning with Ant, and I had to stop myself twice because I said two things that could be taken out of context. And it's terrible that, Jay, we are now in a space where we just speak freely.
It is.
Everything, and no matter what you say, even if it is with the most innocent of context.
But here's the thing.
On
one hand, while I'm saying that, like, I laugh at it too.
Yeah.
I've got an 8th grade toilet sense of humor as well.
Laughing at it.
And that's what guys do.
Yeah.
That's why it's funny to us.
We're children in a lot of ways, men. We are.
It's fact. The Ghost OG says, just trade Sanders, keep Dylan, and you guys will finally be happy.
Okay, yes, that's exactly
what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Huey says, so what should happen with Dylan if Shedeur is the starter and Deshaun's still on the roster?
I don't think Dylan will be here next year.
No, I'd move on.
I don't know even what trade value he would have. But
he'd probably want to be gone, too.
We've seen teams draft quarterback, and 1 year later, they're gone.
Right.
It's not uncommon.
Yeah, they're not going to get anything. I can't imagine they could trade him.
I can't either. Someone might sign him as camp and you see what he can do, but...
Just a couple more real quick. Set Apart Laz says Shedeur does clicks, so everyone uses his name.
That's
Bigger
a fact.
Express says Albert Breer has never said anything about Shedeur that's been true.
Albert Breer's comments had nothing to do with Shedeur. The comments that we read, the ones that I referenced and you brought up, it was all about Kevin Stefanski not necessarily being happy.
Well, I think Shedeur was part of it.
Well, it was the quarterback.
It goes back before Shedeur.
Well, he said it goes back 6, 7, 8 months.
Right,
the signing of Flacco, the signing of
all of it.
So that had, and Albert Breer, don't try to dance on Albert Breer's resume or the job that he does.
Albert's good at what it does. Doesn't mean he doesn't get things wrong.
No, well, they all do, but Albert Breer is as good as it gets. Albert is plugged in.
Davey Davis says Jim McMahon for the Bears was not a traditional quarterback either. He went on his own. Go Shedeur.
That's true. Now, and Davey, that's a great point.
He also wasn't a great quarterback.
And that's where I was going with this. Jim McMahon was the ultimate. He capitalized on being in the right place at the right time. Jim McMahon, go look at the 85 Bears.
Did you watch that documentary?
I did not. No, I didn't.
It's very short. It's like 45 minutes.
I've seen some other docs on the 85 Bears. I lived the 85 Bears.
This was about the making of the
Super Bowl shuffle. Yeah, I didn't see it.
It's worth watching.
I mean, I was 20. I watched the Super Bowl Bears. I watched all of their games. I was very involved in it. Jim McMahon was a below-average quarterback.
Yeah, he was along for the ride mostly.
He basically rode the coattails. Mikey McNuggets could have led that team to the Super Bowl. Why? Because their defense gave up 9 points a game, and all you got to do is hand the ball to Walter Payton.
And he had one of the greatest running backs of all time.
That's exactly
in an era where you could win that.
But Davey is right.
I got one more.
Jim McMahon was not a traditional guy.
No.
Jason Cromley says those last 2 drives, besides Judy, were they all just first-year players out there on offense? Judkins, Sanders, Sampson, Fannin, Bond, Corley, LeVerden. Not sure if Tillman was out there. Larvadan. Corley's not a first-year guy, and he was already out. He wasn't out there because of the concussion.
Yeah.
So I think it actually
and
may have
Sampson. Did Ford?
What about the line,
did
though?
Did Ford play at all?
No, Ford's out, and Ford's out for the season.
Oh, yeah, he was out.
Yeah,
at that point. All right, we'll see you on overtime.
We're talking about which quarterback could pull a Phillip Rivers for the Browns. Peace.